Hey, Checkers here from ClimaxCombo, bringing you that set review slash first impressions video I promised at the end of the box opening for SAO Volume 2. The set's only been around for about a week, and I haven't gotten to that much playtesting, but this is just going to be like a first impressions video. I'll be saying, what I think about certain cards, whether they're good or bad, and also mentioning some other noteworthy cards that are worth playing. In my opinion, this is totally on what I think. So, first I'll go over all the double R's, explain if I think they're good or not. Then I'll go into some non-double R level 3s, and finally I'll just go over some other noteworthy cards, some decent cards that the rest of the set has. So, without further ado, I'll just get right to it. First off, we have the 1-0 Asuna. This is the triple R version. I didn't actually pull any normal double R's, so there's that. But yeah, this is the same card. She climax combos with this 2k1 on attack, pay 1, and bounce a character from your opponent's stage back to their hand. So you can hit any character, so it hits back row characters, and it's you get to choose when to bounce something, when to use the effect. So in English meta, there's the 1-0 marker Asuna that, can give you a lot of trouble if you, it's pretty hard to deal with getting over that thing. But this is one way. You just pay 1 to bounce that card. It loses all of its markers, and it's just an easy way to deal with it. So there's that. But her other effect, Accelerate, take top card of your library and put it to your clock at the beginning of your climax phase, and she gets 3500 power for the turn, so she hits 8k. First of all, Accelerate, it's not that good. You can use it early on, I guess. You're just dealing 1 damage to yourself for whatever its effect is. This one's only power, so I don't think it's worth using. You don't want to use Accelerate later because you're doing damage to yourself and killing yourself faster, which is not good. The combo, pay 1 to bounce something. If you really want to control when you bounce something, then I guess it's good, but I don't think it's it's honestly whatever. If you want a level 1 combo, I think the 1-0 Invites to Party Asuna from the first set is a lot better, since it combos with Wind Trigger. And that is a bounce in itself, but you do have to trigger it, so it's not like you don't control when to bounce on anything. But her pay 1 effect is better, because you get to search something, so you get to add to your hand. And she's 5/5 base if you fulfill her conditions, so she's stronger than this. And she also has a pay 1 bond. So altogether, I think that combo is a better mechanic to have, but this thing's whatever. Honestly, I probably wouldn't use this card at all. Next off, we have the other yellow double R, this 3-2 Asuna. On play, if her attack is cancelled, then you deal 1 damage to your opponent, so it's a flare trigger. And she combos with this cyclone trigger, wind trigger, whatever. On attack, all your characters gain 5k power, and when they reverse your opponent's character, you can send that character to stock. So the combo, if you attack with her first, then all your characters, you're gonna wipe their field, but then in turn you're gonna give them 3 stock, which, unless they have no hand and no more level 3 supply, then honestly it's not worth it. Not giving your opponent 3 stock is definitely not a good thing. You don't want to be giving your opponent stock. They can just play whatever they want the next turn. If you attack with her last, then she's just a 15k base anti-encore, which is not worth running this climax just to get that effect. Since you do have Flash Asuna, which does send a stock on her own normally, so you can just do it that way. And there's also...
Just go, my bad. There's a plot.
Oh. There's also the level 0 Kirito, which I'll explain later on, if you want an anti-encore effect. So yeah, the combo I don't think is very good, and I probably wouldn't use this climax. But the 3-2 on her own The burn effect is enough to running like 2 or 3, because that's the best game ender that SAO has currently available. And yeah, that's all I really needed for level 3, just a way to end. And yeah, so this card is definitely worth running. And finally, about this level 3, there's a 2/1 that has a climax phase change into her, which is during a climax phase, pay 2, at the start of your climax phase, pay 2, discard a card, and put this Asuna on the slot that the 2/1 was in. So, and she also has on play give a character 500 power, which who cares about that? It's just 500 power on play. And so first of all, changing into this at level 2 is like, you don't really want to do it. Like, you don't need the burn on play at level 2. I'd rather just hold on to them until at the end of level 3 when you want to kill them that turn. SAO2 was level 2. SAO's level 2 was sort of lackluster in the first set. So having a change, you know, there is always that option now. You can have a 10k beater with that does 2 soul every turn out at level 2. So, but I don't know. She's just not worth having out at level 2. If you're winning really hard, then I guess you could just change and keep shitting on them. But it's okay. It's a climax phase change. Like, if you want to change and you're running, you know, a lot of yellow, then you can still do it. But it's whatever. I only like tech it in because it's very situational when I actually want to pull the change off. So yeah, there's that. That's what I think of that whole thing. Next we have the blue. Actually, I'll go over the green double Rs now. This 2/1 Lifa. She gives 1k global to all avatar nets, and when one of your characters gets reversed, you can pay 1 and rest her, and that character gains hand encore. So it's essentially pay 1, discard a card encore for any character on your stage, and this can happen on your opponent's turn as well. So it's whatever, honestly. 1k global, you know, 1k global is okay, but it's green, and green's not that good, so you wouldn't really want to. You wouldn't want to run this over like another level multiplier in a different color, and get paying 1 hand encore, paying 1 hand encore. Yeah, for anything is whatever. It's kind of, this card's just whatever. It's not a very good assist. I would run the other assists over this, level 2 assists over this card. Yeah. Next, other double R green. 3/2 Lifa and Sugu. She heals on play, and she has a climax combo with this 2k1. On attack, pay 1, and you can search 2 avatar net characters. So, another healer for green. 2k1 combo is pretty good because you get to search 2 characters, and that's, you get to plus.
And compress.
And compress. So you get to search and thin out your deck. What was I going to say next? The combo's good, except it's green, so like having to use green is bad because the rest of the cards aren't very good. And there are other 2k1 combos that are better, like the Silica level 3 combo, and they're just other better climaxes to have in your deck. You don't want to be forced to run this 2k1 just so you could run this. And if you're just running her as a healer, I mean, at that point there are other better healers, like the 3/2 Silica healer, and the Asuna from the old set, and even the Kirito from this set, because he double attacks. But, you know, I'll get to that later. Actually, I'll get to that pretty soon. So yeah, this card's okay, but it's green, so it's not very good. And the combo, 2k1. You don't want to be forced to run that. Alright, next we got red. This 1/1 Silica, 7500 base. On play, reveal the top card of your library. If it's not an avatar, net, or familiar character, then at the beginning of your encore step, put her into the waiting room. So she's like the 1/1 candidate from Angel Beats. It's pretty easy to meet the condition because all your characters are going to be one of those traits. That's every single trait in the set. And, normally 8 climaxes and then like 2 or 3, depending on how you run it, of the sacrifice events. So that's like 10 or 11 cards that you could hit that she would kill herself. So it's not that bad. Like, you have an easier time. You have an easy enough time getting her out. This card's really solid. It's just 7/5, so that's really high base power. And yeah, she's just a really good 1/1 beater. I mean, if you're running, I would only run her in a Silica deck where you can use the level 0 Pinas to really take advantage of these cards. But other than that, if you're not running a Silica deck with the Pinas, then I probably wouldn't run her, because there are other good 1/1 Asanas that still do the job. So yeah, it's a solid card, but Silica deck. Next we have this 2/1 Silica 7500 base. On play, reveal the top, and you can either leave it there or put it to the waiting room. And she also has a ClimaxCombo with the gate from the new set. On attack, pay 2. You can deal 1 damage to your opponent and take a card from their waiting room and put it onto their library. So she burns 1, and she has a mini level 3 Silica effect. First of all, she's very weak. 7,500 power for level 2 is not very good. Her effect is pretty heavy since you do have to pay 2. All it is burning, and the effects are really good at the end of the game, but you have to 1k1 for the effects, so it's 1k1ing at level 3 is not very good, and her effects just whatever. Like, there are better ways to end the game, like the level 3 Asuna and the level 3 Silica from the new set, even though I'll get to that later. But yeah, this card's honestly whatever. If you're running these gates, then I guess if you really wanted to, you could splash 1 in, but I honestly think the cost is just way too heavy to really take advantage of it. So yeah, I don't think this card's very good. Alright, next off, we have the blue double R's. This 2/1 Yui. She's a level multiplier in front, and you can rest 2 characters and look at the top card of your library and either put it there or to the bottom of your deck. So this is just another level multiplier option. I wouldn't run this level multiplier over the Elizabeth unless you're running blue and you don't have any red at all in your deck. Then it'd be fine, because you need a good late game assist and a blue level multiplier. Why not? And her effect's not bad either. You do get to top deck. However, it would be better if it went to the weight room. But it's still a top deck. You still get to move your card if you don't want to trigger it or draw it if you do get one. But this card's good, but only for blue. So yeah, there's that. Next off, the level 3 Kirito from the set. He heals on play, and on attack, you can pay 3, discard 2 cards from your hand, and you have to be at level 3 with 6 cards in your clock. Then you can stand this. So he's literally a last resort. This is the turn I'm gonna die. Go balls deep card. You double attack. So he's a healer, which is nice, and the double attack, you don't want to rely on it because it's way too situational, but it's nice to have if you're running yellow blue. So I guess I'll take the time now to explain how double attacking works. So let's say it's your turn, right? And you attack. When you attack, you pay 3, you discard, and stand this. Then you trigger, right? Mm-hmm. And so that attack goes through. that damage goes through. But if your opponent backs up or is stronger than the Kirito, then he gets reversed. Which means he's reversed after you stood him. So you can't double attack after that, if that makes sense. So you attack, then you pay cost. So you need to make sure that he lives in order to get the double attacking off. And that's just a little, maybe some people don't really know. Here, what you got to say?
He also keeps the soul, so if you trigger like a 2 soul, then he'll be 5 soul. Let's say you trigger this, then now he's 5 soul when he attacks. And let's say this is reversed. It's still considered a front attack or a side attack, so he'll be 4 soul at least. Then you can side for 1. So do keep in mind that he does keep the soul from his triggers.
Yeah. Alright. And then he does have a climax phase change. That's all he does. Is pay 2 for an 8500 and pay 1, discard a card, change them to this. So, this Kirito's not going to be doing much at level 2 except, healing once. And other than that, he's just a 10k 2 soul beater. So, I would, if you're going to run a climax phase change in yellow-blue, then I would probably run this guy over the Asuna. Because you do get to heal, which means you get to stay alive for a little longer at level 2. And, you're not going to be double attacking till later in the game. You're not going to be burning till later in the game. So, it's better to have a healer out earlier and just survive a little longer. Because essentially, in the end, they're both 10k 2 soul beaters. So, yeah. That's what I have to say about this Kirito. He's pretty decent, but, I don't like blue in general, so I'm probably not going to use him. But, if you are running blue, then you definitely want to have him in, so you can have 2 different healers. And yeah, there's that. That's all I have to say about that. That's all the double R's, so now I guess I'll just talk about the non-double R level 3s in the set. First of all, I'll talk about this 3-2 Silica, 9500 power. She gets 500 power for every avatar or net or familiar character. So if you have a full field, then she becomes 11.5 base. I have to do the math, which is pretty strong. And on play, you can pay 1 to deal 1 damage to your opponent. So it kind of sucks that you do have to pay 1 to deal 1 damage, so that means you're just paying 3 to deal 1 damage and then have like a really strong beater. Which is, whatever. The 3-2 Asuna is the better ender because you don't have to pay an extra stock for her effect, and you still, you just don't have to pay stock. It's better, and it's yellow. I don't want to have to pay an extra 1 to do the extra damage. It's okay. It's a really strong card, but I would only use her in just a Silica deck. That would be the Silica deck ender, since you don't really want to run yellow, since it'd be a little harder to pull off. But it's okay, just not as good as the 3-2 Asuna that burns. Next, I'll talk about this Elizabeth 3-2. On play, she gets 500 for every avatar or net character. And I forgot what the first effect was.
Top check.
Top check. So you look at the top and either leave it on your top of your library or put to the waiting room. And finally, when she reverses a character, you can pay 1 to choose a level 2 or lower character in your opponent's front row and put it to the top of their library.
Only on your turn.
Only on your turn. So, power on play, whatever. Not good. Because, I'd rather want power constantly. Top check is okay. Is whatever. On play effect. And just paying 1 to top deck a character, it's cool. But again, you do have to pay 1 for kind of an ender, because you put it to the top and you can do that 1 damage, but honestly,
Silica.
yeah, we got Silica, who puts it on top anyways. Puts a character on top anyways with the combo. And she heals. And the combo is just really good. And, you know, there's better ways to end the game, like with the other two cards. So this card's honestly whatever. It's not worth running at all, I think, over any other level 3. So, yeah. And then finally, for the other level 3s, we got this Yui, 10k, on play, draw 2, discard a card, and ClimaxCombo. When you play this Climax, you can pay 1 and choose any character, level 3 or lower, on your opponent's stage and put it to the bottom of their deck. So,
Front row.
oh, front row?
Yeah.
Oh, that'd be really good if it was back row. Anyways, so front row, you just bot deck something. So honestly, very whatever. There's another way to bot deck characters in the set, which I would use over this, and it's a 2k1 combo. There are way better 2k1 combos with the Silica, the Lifa, and there are just other climaxes you would rather run than this. Even in a blue build, I probably wouldn't run her, because she's just not that good. Draw 2 ditch is cool, but her climax combo is just not worth running. So yeah, this is not a good card. Finally, it's time to go over some other noteworthy cards. Let's see. Since I was just talking about this, I'll mention it. This 00 Keto 25, you can pay 1 to give when your character attacks, right? You pay 1 to give them the effect of when they reverse a character, it goes to the bottom of your opponent's deck for that turn. So this is a good one-of card because you don't need the bot deck effect against all series, just certain ones. But you're basically able to give any of your characters anti-encore, which can be really nice and can really be very devastating for your opponent if used correctly. So this card's definitely worth splashing in. 1. I went maybe 2. I don't know. It honestly, no, probably just 1 because you really only need this card against certain matchups. So yeah, this card is definitely worth running. 1 of. Next, this 00 Silica. Pay 1, discard a card on play. Search for an avatar character. The searcher in the first set is blue, so if you're not running blue, then this card, you definitely want to run this over that. But if you are running blue and no red, then stick with the Kirito. But yeah, this is just, a good replacement for your searcher. Yeah, that's all I really want to say about this card. Just use it instead of the blue one if you don't need blue. Next, I'll talk about this 00 Asuna. If she's by herself, she gets plus 1k and plus 1 level, so she becomes 3k level 1. And she has a spammable brainstorm. For every climax you hit, she gets 1k and plus 1 soul. So she is a good brainstorm. It's spammable, so there's that, or there's the climb from the first set. And her effect is pretty nice if you don't have like other beaters in your hand, then you can just play her and use her as 3k level 1. She can't get suicided, although 3k is low, so normal characters can get over that, but yeah, she's a good beater. She's pretty good. I don't know if I'd run her over the climb, because Klein's brainstorm is really good. 1k to the end of your opponent's turn is really nice, and he has a nice on play effect, so it really just comes to preference at this point, whether you want a little bit more power for other characters, more utility, or just a solid beater in addition to having a spammable brainstorm. The options there for you. This card is pretty decent. Next, I'll talk about this level 0 Asuna. During your turn, all your characters get plus 500 power, and you can rest 2 characters and give something 1k till the end of your turn. So, she gives really good offensive power. Since the extra 500, it makes a decent amount of difference at level 1 and 0, I guess. Not really 0. At level 1. I compare her a lot to the Yui from the first set, the double R Yui, because she also has a rest 2, gives only 1k effect, and that other ability, pay 1, draw a card, discard a card. Her power is until the end of your opponent's turn, which is makes your the one character you choose a bit better on defending. But this also gives more offensive power. You know, they both have their merits. It really just depends on what you want. If you want a little more utility and a little more power on defending, then the Yui's pretty good. But I've been trying out this card, and I actually like the extra power. It's really nice to have. And yeah, it's a good card to have in the back row. You can consider this card for your back row presence. Next, we have this one Elizabeth for 500, 4,500. If you have 5 or more stock, then she gains the effect where if she is reversed and the level of your opponent is level 1 or lower, then you can also reverse that card. So essentially she's a level 1 suicider as long as you fulfill the condition, which is, it's not that bad. 5 stock is kind of a lot at level 1. You probably won't have 5 stock as soon as you hit level 1, so I don't know. It's a level 1 at the suicider, so that option is there for you. Her condition's not that hard. You have to get around it, but you know, I think she's pretty good. Yeah, I haven't really tried her yet, but first impressions, you know, I think it's a good level 1 suicider. And then finally, just random U card, 1/6k. This Asuna gets 500 power for every rested character on your turn. So if all your characters are rested in front and back, then she becomes 8k base, which is pretty good. And she also has Clock Encore, which is, I think, is the most important part of this card, because SAO kind of had a difficult problem with keeping hand up. And the only other Encore in the set is the 1/1 Imprisoned Queen Asuna, which is hand Encore, but Clock Encore is better since you don't have to discard hand, and so it really helps maintain your hand size. And she works well with this level 0 and the Yui, I guess, since you can rest your back row and then attack with your other 2 characters first, so then she does become 8k on offense, 8/5 with this, and then if you power her, 9/5. So yeah, she becomes pretty big level 1, and the fact that she has Clock Encore just makes her pretty good. I think she's definitely worth running if you do want a 1/1 beater in there. But if you don't, the 1/0s are still really good in the set, so you're not forced to run her, but if you do want some form of Encore, a decent way to keep your hand up, then go for it. I think it's pretty good. Whoops. Yeah, those are my first impressions of. There's honestly not that many good cards. Like, I only run a few. Alright, sorry guys. But yeah, final impressions, the set doesn't add a whole lot. It really only adds a few cards that I think are definitely worth running, like these. The rest of the cards are honestly just whatever. So yeah, you definitely don't want to buy boxes for this set. Just single it up. Yeah. I don't really got much to say besides that.
Yes. Alright.
Alright, then that's it. That's the video. Hope you guys liked it. We'll put some duels later on, and I'll keep working on my deck. So yeah, look forward to that, and until next time.